7 Secrets of the Goddess by Devdutt Pattanaik. Chapter 1. Gaia's Secret. Male anxiety is outdated. Part 3. If rural cultures valued fertility, urban cultures valued obedience, for it indicated control and discipline. While fertility was rooted in women, obedience was enforced through men. With urbanization came more rules and the idea of evil, one who does not submit to the rules. We find women at the receiving end of the rules, suggesting the city was a masculine invention. This is explicit in Chinese mythology, where two natural forces work in harmony to create life, yang and yin. The masculine yang is like a dragon in the sky. The feminine yin is the earth, which like the phoenix rises from its own ashes, regenerating itself. There is no superior or inferior force in nature, say Taoist traditions, but in Confucian traditions, which favor culture over nature, hierarchy emerges, where the man becomes more important. The emperor is given the mandate of heaven to sit on the dragon throne in the forbidden city and asked to domesticate the earth, bring order where there is chaos. A patriarchal society links women with nature and men with culture. Just as culture domesticates nature, men are asked to domesticate women. This is explicit in the Mesopotamian epic, Enuma Elish, where the god king Marduk defeats the primal female monster Tiamat and brings order to the world. It is also explicit in Greek myths of Zeus chasing and raping nymphs across the land and fathering offspring. In Japanese mythology, the first man, Izanagi, and the first woman, Izanami, stir the oceans to create the islands of Japan. They build a house with a pillar and go around it in opposite directions with the intention of copulating when they meet. When they meet, the woman speaks first and deformed demons are born. They go around once again, and this time the man speaks first when they meet, and normal humans are born, thus establishing the need to make women subservient to men. The battle of sexes found in Japanese mythology continues into the next generation. Izanagi's daughter, Amaterasu, the sun goddess, born of his right eye, shares the sky with her brother, Tsukuyomi, the moon god, born of his left eye. But then, Tsukuyomi strikes the goddess of earth in disgust for producing food from all her orifices, including nose, rectum, and mouth. So Amaterasu refuses to see him, resulting in the division of night and day, with the night belonging to the moon brother and the day to the sun sister. Amaterasu also competes with her other brother, Susanoo, the storm god. He produces 5 men using her necklace, and she produces 3 women from his sword. He says he won as he produced more offspring, but she says she won as his sword produced women and her necklace produced men, thus inadvertently admitting that male offspring are of superior value to female offspring. In cities, we find the battle of power, the desire to be king, the competition between men, the younger lot seeking to overthrow the elders, and the elders always suspicious of the youth. Women are the trophies of this masculine rivalry. They are seen as dangerous forces who seem to value desire over rules. Everyone is told to be wary of them. In Greek mythology, for example, Zeus, fearful of human heroes, sends a box to Pandora, a woman, with a warning never to open it. She disobeys and outpours all the problems of the world that promise to keep humanity too busy to bother with trying to overthrow the Olympians. From that day, men are advised to be wary of all women. They were deemed the source of all problems in life. Not surprisingly, Greek democracy valued only men and excluded women. In biblical mythology, the woman Eve is tempted by the serpent to break the law of God by eating the fruit of the tree of knowledge and compel Adam to do so too. For this act of transgression, both Adam and Eve are cast out of paradise, and Eve is made subservient to Adam. Before the creation of Eve, God is said to have created Lilith of hairy legs. but she refused to be subservient to Adam and so was cast out. She became the mother of monsters. As walls were built around cities and wealth hoarded, urban centers often found themselves at war and under siege, surrounded by hungry tribes from the countryside who wished to tear down their walls and claim what was hidden. In this world, a man was valued by what he had, women included. The raiders were keen not just to possess the wealth of those who lived behind the walls, but also their women. This led to increased isolation of women for their own good. They were restricted to inner courtyards and forced to go under the veil. Higher the social status, greater the isolation. Greater the isolation, the more valuable and desirable a woman became. Thus we find the concept of the virginal Snow White in European folklore, and a Surya Sparsh, or untouched by the rays of the sun, in Indian folklore. Society located its honor in a woman's body, and so 1,000 Greek ships sailed to bring back Helen, wife of Menelaus, king of Sparta, who eloped with Paris, prince of Troy. Her action, say the epics, brought shame to all of Greece. After Troy was torn to the ground, the wives of Trojan warriors were brought back to Greece as concubines. Agamemnon, leader of the Greeks, who had sacrificed his daughter, Iphigenia, to ensure good winds as they sailed to battle, returned with the Trojan princess Cassandra by his side. Agamemnon's wife, Clytemnestra, was so angry that she murdered her husband and his concubine. Orestes, son of Agamemnon, avenged his father's death by killing his mother and her lover, Aegisthus. For the crime of killing his mother, Orestes was pursued by the dreaded female spirits known as Erinyes, also known as Furies, until Athena, goddess of good sense, intervened. She defends Orestes and appeases the Erinyes by declaring them as goddesses of justice. This story reveals a shift from matriarchy, when the lover of the queen was ritually murdered and killing the mother was the greatest crime, to patriarchy, when killing women who challenged male authority and dishonored the family was justified. The Hebrew Bible tells the story of Dinah, daughter of Jacob, leader of nomads, who was abducted and violated by a Canaanite prince who so wanted to marry her that he was even willing to circumcise himself so as to be an acceptable groom. This suggests the abduction was perhaps elopement and violation was perhaps intimacy by mutual consent. The brothers of Dinah did not think so. They kill the Canaanite prince while he is sore following circumcision, and then they go on to plunder his lands to the horror of their father, Jacob, who does not desire this enmity with the city folk. But the brothers argue, how can we let him treat our sister as a harlot? This assigning of honor to women plays out elaborately in the Indian epics. In the Ramayana, after Ram rescues Sita from the clutches of Ravan, he says, I rescued you not because you are my wife, but to protect the honor of my family into which you married. In the Mahabharata, the Kauravas publicly denigrate Draupadi by seeking to disrobe her only to humiliate her 5 husbands, the Pandavas. In these stories, the woman stops being a person. She is dehumanized and turned into a symbol of masculine honor. This transformation from prized possession to venerated object marks the triumph of patriarchy. Chapter 1. Gaia's Secret. Male Anxiety is Outdated. Part 2. Chapter 1. Gaia's Secret. Male Anxiety is Outdated. Part 4.